Hey, how's it going, man? I'm just doing some more learn C++ right now. I haven't touched it in a while, so I figured it would be good to get some practice. Also, is my stream laggy at all? Let me know. If it's laggy, I'll need to fix it. So we did our learn CPP. Let's do some Neetcode. I have not done Neetcode in a while, and I need to practice. Oh gosh, I haven't done SQL in forever. I don't want to do that. Dude.
so today let's solve the problem encode and decode strings. So you can tell the interface is a little bit different this time, and that's because we are going to be solving this problem on Neetcode, because this is a premium Neetcode problem and we can solve it for free on the website Neetcode. And also, this is a problem from the Blind 75 list, a list of 75 common Neetcode questions that we've been tracking on this spreadsheet. The link to this will be in the description if you want to take a look. And we're pretty much done with the main problems. I'm going to be solving another one today, a premium one, encode and decode strings. This is a pretty decent problem to understand, so let's get into it. So it's a bit of a design algorithm because we're going to have two different functions that we want to implement. So we're given a list of strings, and we want to write two functions. We want to encode this list of strings into a single string, and you can kind of see that down here. We're given an input list of strings, Neetcode love you, and we want it to be a single string such as this one in the bottom right, and then the decode is just going to be the opposite of encode. We're going to be given a single string, and we want to be able to convert this string back into that original list of strings that we were given. And it's up to us on how we want to design this algorithm, but the tricky part is going to be that the basic assumption is that in our input we could have any possible character in the inputs, not just limited to lowercase a to z. So the difficult thing is going to be, how do we create some kind of delimiter between each word? How do we know when one word ends and another word begins? That's kind of what we're going to be focusing on. So let's get into that solution. So suppose we're given two strings like this, neat and code, and we want to convert it into another string, basically into a single string, right? So a naive way would be something like this, right? Just say, okay, neat code. Now the problem is, okay, we did that, the encode was fine, but now we want to decode this back into the two original strings that we had, but there's no way for us to determine, right? Because we can't remember where one word ends and another word begins, right? So we need to have some kind of character or something to separate words. What if we used a pound sign or something, right? Something like this, or any character, maybe a question mark or something, right? This is like our special character. That's what's going to separate words for us. So in this case, it works out, right? We'll go character by character in the input. Once we get to a pound sign, okay, we'll say that this word ends. So we'll say, okay, we have the first word neat, and this is not included in any of the words, so we skip it, and then we get to the remaining portion, code, and there aren't any more pound signs, so that works out in this case, right? But basically, our assumption when we're using this pound sign is that the pound is never going to actually show up in any words. What happens if we have a word, suppose in our word code, in the middle of the word, we have a pound sign, right? There's no reason why we can't have something like this. So in that case, when we take this and encode it, we're going to get something like this as the encoded string, right? And then when we split it, we're going to have three different words, neat, co, and de, but in the original, you can see we only had two words, but when we get our output, we're going to end up splitting this into three words, which is not what we wanted to do, right? We want to transform it back into what was originally given to us. So having just a single special character delimiter is not going to work, because that delimiter could actually show up in some of the words. Wouldn't it be nice if in the encoded string, we somehow already knew how many characters would go in the first word, how many characters would go in the second word, etc., etc. So then we could just say, okay, let's take the first four characters, encode it back into the first word, then take the next five characters, encode it into the second word. So how could we, do something like that? Well, one way would basically be by maintaining some kind of array, right? When we're given this inputs list of strings and we want to encode it to a single string, we can, for every single word, basically have an integer, right? The first word is 4 characters, the next word is 5 characters, etc. But then where are we going to store this list? Because this is a valid solution if we're storing this list somewhere, but basically in the description, they don't want us to store any kind of state variable. This encode and decode needs to be stateless. So when we have this list 4, 5, we cannot store it in a separate data structure. Is it possible for us to store it in the string itself? How about when we're encoding this, we want to know, okay, starting at the beginning here, how many of these characters are going to be in the first word? Well, why not just put that number at the beginning, right? 4 at the beginning of this encoded string. That works because then we can look at the beginning, transform it into an integer, But one thing is, what if the word itself had some integers in it? Well, now we need another delimiter, right? We're going to have our integer always at the beginning. There's always going to be an integer at the beginning. The string is always going to start with an integer. That integer is going to represent what the length of the following word is going to be, but we're going to have a delimiter in between the integer and between the word itself. So basically, we're going to read each character until we reach the delimiter, and once we reach the delimiter, we're going to take all the characters that we just read, which are going to be transformed into an integer. So this 4 is going to be mapped to 4, and then we're going to count the next 4 characters after the delimiter, which in this case is going to be pound. And that works because we're only going to read one delimiter. We're going to expect a single pound sign no matter what, right? So even if the first character here was a pound, it still works because we're going to read an integer 4, read a single pound sign, and then say, okay, take the next 4 characters, even if they include pound, even if they included some integer like 8 or 6 or something, right? If they include integer, pound, it doesn't matter because this tells us how many characters are going to be in the first word. And then once we read those 4 characters, what are we going to expect to be next? Well, we're going to expect some word, but we want to know how long that word is going to be. So we're going to do exactly what we said. We are ready to get into the code. Okay, so now let's get into the code. You can see the interface is a little bit different. Yes, we are doing this on Neetcode rather than Leetcode because it's free on there. So let's start with the encode function. It's a little bit easier. So remember, we're given a list of strings and we want to encode it into a single string. How are we going to?
Hey, have you heard about Handmade Hero? Let me look. Handmade Hero is an ongoing project by Casey Mitanori to create a complete professional quality game accompanied by videos that explain every single line of its source code. The series began on November 17th, 2014 and is estimated to run for at least 600 episodes. Programming sessions are limited to 1 hour per weekday, so it remains manageable for people who practice coding alongside the hero. Interesting. I haven't heard of it before, but that's cool. Thanks for showing that to me, JP Games. Sorry, not JP James. That's interesting. I'm guessing it's like a tutorial type of project.
You're going to do that? Well, we're going to go string by string in the input, and
it's helped a lot of people pick up on Casey's own coding practices as an industry professional. Interesting. Yeah, that's awesome. I'll take a look at. I'll take a look at the more of the project really quick. Setting up windows. Interesting.
Hello everyone and welcome to Handmade Hero, the show where we code a complete game live on stream. No engines, no libraries. It's just our code.
Oh, I think I've seen Casey before.
Right down to rendering the pixels.
Yeah, is Casey?
Internal void, add.
I might be wrong. I think I've seen Casey on like the stand-up maybe.
And do that. And that way I can just have different fonts where I can say which fonts I want them to be.
If you go on Handmade Network, there too, you can see some stuff that people have created after being inspired by it.
What's the font name?
That's awesome.
So then in here we
if you want, join the Discord, and I'd love to talk more about that too. He's the guy from Primeagen. Yeah. I've seen him on there before. I was wondering. I was like, he sounds familiar.
And to the result, we want to append this encoded string as.
Oh, interesting. So, we want to do result plus equals string.
how are we encoding it again? Well, remember, we're going to take the length of the string, and the length of the string is going to be an integer, but we want to transform that into a string. So let's do that in Python pretty easily, just like this. Plus, we want to add the delimiter, the pound sign. So we have the length of the string, followed by the delimiter pound sign, followed by the string itself, s. So then, this is kind of the format that we agreed upon. This is how we're going to be encoding it, because it's going to be easy for us to decode this as well. So we're going to do this for every single string in the input, add it to the result, and then we can go ahead and return that result. So encode was pretty straightforward. Decode is going to be a little bit more tricky, but we know the rules that we can follow. So this time we're given a single string, a single encoded string, which is going to be encoded using the function that we just wrote. So how are we going to decode?
Yeah, thank you for showing me that, JP.
In this case,
are you new on the? I don't know if you've been in one of my streams before. I'm pretty sure.
Also going to have a pointer I.
This is my first time meeting you. But it's nice to meet you.
At in the input string so far. So I'm going to just iterate character.
So what you want to say is stood string result is equal to I'm honestly so tired. I don't think I'm gonna do this right now. Like I'm not gonna really understand it super well. I have a hard time with LeetCode stuff for some reason, like Neetcode. Like, I need to go through the course for sure. And I did a bunch today with like OpenGL and stuff. So now your streams keep getting recommended to me, so I decided to click on it. Oh, that's awesome! I'm happy to hear that you were able to join. Yeah, if you want to join future streams, I'm actually learning. Here, I'll pull it up really quick. I've been streaming a lot lately, so it's been fun. But I'm learning OpenGL right now, and I got oh, hold on. I just got some stuff. I'm learning OpenGL right now, and I'm learning how to transform with matrices and stuff right now. It's pretty fun. Yeah, super fun. Super difficult, but also like at the same time it's not too bad if you take your time. So yeah. I appreciate you coming and joining the stream. I think I am gonna end stream today, and I'm gonna probably go work on my video a little bit. I have a video coming out this next week that is kind of about learning and why it's still important with AI around, and like kind of like a lot of people are talking about right now, but I think I want to talk about my own opinion on it. So yeah, hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope to see you in the next stream. I'll see ya.